Dear Diary. Or journal? I'm still not quite sure what I should say here. Anyway, the doctor says I should start marking down some of the notable things that happen in my day-to-day routine, so, here I am. I saw Speedrun today. Not sure if that counts as notable, but it was pretty good. This guy was able to finish Devil May Cry 3 in less than an hour, and he didn't even use any glitches or exploits. I don't watch them that much, but it never ceases to amaze me how people can manage to find ways to speed past some of the most challenging parts of a game. I could never be a speedrunner myself, though. Every once in a while, I might want to see if I can get a faster time, if my time is graded in a mission, but generally speaking, it's not that important to me. Plus, I don't even think I'd be that good at it. Movement shooters. A bit of a subgenre within the subgenre of boomer shooters. As the name implies, they are games where constant movement is the focus of the game. Dare I say the core of them. Often being fairly straightforward in nature, these games tend to have rather simplistic goals, as no matter what your objective is, the real goal is to finish every objective, every mission, as fast and as efficiently as possible. Bonus points if you look cool while doing it. Any cease or slowdown in this movement is an affront to that goal and must be eliminated with maximum force. As you might imagine, the very nature of movement shooters makes them a ripe feeding ground for speedrunners. With fluid movement mechanics such as sliding, wall running, and dashing often being present in gameplay, players' times being graded, and the games often encouraging players to get faster and faster times and better grades, many movement shooters are in fact built around the idea of speedrunning. These types of fast games also, by nature, tend to have a pretty high bar for entry, as you need to have a good grasp on the controls, a quick reaction speed, and the will to actually reach each goal faster and faster. Though none of that inherently means these games are only reserved for the fastest among us. While there are certainly games that are oriented towards only the most dedicated within the speedrunning community, there are plenty of movement shooters that are perfectly open for the casual player and can even act as gateways to the world of speedrunning. So I started playing this small indie FPS, and it's pretty clear that speed is the focus of the game. I know not long ago I said that speedrunning really isn't my thing, but I like it so far. I don't really have to participate in the speed aspect of the game to enjoy it, right? Welcome to Baby's First Movement Shooter. In this indie FPS, you play as Alphonse Harding, a former agent of the shady government agency known as the COI, trying to live a quiet life in the mountains. Unfortunately for Harding, he was the best there was at what he did, and what he did wasn't very nice. His former commander, knowing this, tries to bring him in for one last mission, but Harding, being 5 one last missions into retirement, wants nothing to do with that life anymore. His former commander, unwilling to take no for an answer, decides to try to bring him in by any means necessary, and Harding meets him in kind. Armed with nothing but your bare hands and whatever weapons you can find, you must kick, throw, grab, and shoot your way through all those who dare to disturb your peace. A simple premise with a simple presentation, but the fun is found in the simplicity. While this game isn't breaking any new ground in the FPS genre, the gameplay loop of stun one guy, grab his gun, kill 3 other guys with it, kick the guy who got stunned, then use that now empty gun to stun the next guy, grab his gun, and repeat, then doing all that while running, sliding, and avoiding gunfire, all to reach the end of the level as fast as possible, makes me feel like I'm actually good at something. Like imagine Superhot, but without the slow-mo mechanic. I know that's basically what makes that game so fun, but I would argue the lack of that mechanic is what makes this game so fun. Since there's no extra ammo or reloading, you've got to think quickly on what your next move will be. Which weapon do you pick up? Who do you kill first? How do you get to the end the fastest? All this happening in real time makes those moments when you get a flawless kill streak as you zoom to the end of a level so much more rewarding. And while the main goal is to reach the end of each level, the game also gives you small additional objectives that ask you to get certain kills or reach the end in different ways. Now, the reason I call this game Baby's First Movement Shooter is because this game kind of eases you into the speed aspect of it. While you do have a certain amount of time to finish each level, and the game certainly does encourage you to do them as fast as possible, how fast you finish a level has no effect on anything but the final grade you get at the end of it. So it might actually be helpful to do the levels at your own pace first to give yourself a chance to explore the levels and learn where all the items, weapons, and enemies are. The side objectives for each level are actually pretty helpful in this regard, as they often require you to finish the levels in creative or specific ways, cluing you in on some of the different tools and routes you have at your disposal. Almost as if within your initial attempts to finish a level, the game is easing you into the idea of speedrunning it, showing you where the best weapons are and where to find the fastest routes, so when you try to speedrun a level for real, you'll already have an idea of where to start. Now once you are comfortable enough to actually speedrun a level, your first instinct may be to blitz to the end, skipping any and all obstacles and enemies that are in your path. And while that is a strategy, and some levels even encourage it, the amount of enemies you kill and how you kill them is added to your final score on top of the score you get for how fast you finish the level. So while speed is absolutely the name of the game, you do still have to participate in some levels more than just running to the end of it if you want to get the best grades. My only real complaint about all of this is that the AI can be a little dumb at times. There are times they will just wander in an attempt to find you, which can make finding them difficult and kill your momentum as well as potentially ruin whatever speedrun you were trying to do. Okay, so, update. I know it's been a few days since I've written anything, but you should know I'm still playing that game. I'm actually really enjoying it, and weirdly enough, for as simple as it is, I think the story is one of the parts I'm enjoying the most. I even decided to try and speedrun some levels. I know I'm a big hypocrite at this point, but just like I suspected, I'm not very good at it. I'm lucky if I even get close to an A rank, and I find that surprisingly frustrating. I feel like I shouldn't be that bothered by it, but I can't help but feel, annoyed when I see the bar stop right before the grade I was aiming for. I could have done everything right and I still end up coming short. I don't know, maybe I'm just trying too hard. The story is pretty much exactly what I mentioned near the beginning of this video, and not much more than that. Normally that would be a bit of a negative, but I'm pretty sure that straightforward story was done on purpose, as you're most likely here for the fast action rather than whatever story this game tells. But personally, it wasn't the action that caught my attention when I first saw this game. It was the voice acting and dialogue that drew me in. While the game is fairly short and the narrative is nothing too special, the characters and their interactions made the story a little more than just something to drive the game forward for me. Each level is separated by small cutscenes where we hear the characters talking over radio, most of which are between Harding and his commander, but we never see any of the characters, we only hear their voices accompanied by text on the screen. But if anything, that just gives so much more credit to the voice actors because they give so much personality to the characters.
Confirm access. Comms code 8, Hotel Alpha.
I told you that we don't need to use a code.
What do you think you're doing here, son?
I believe I'm making it very unpleasant for a COI agent to exist in the relatively small patch of forest I've made my home. What do you think I'm doing here?
I think you're making a fool of yourself. You're going to take the job. You know the difference between right and wrong. There's work to be done. Let's get this over with.
Please, Birkin. I'm really not taking the job.
Harding genuinely sounds like some regular guy who's just trying to live normally. It makes his interactions with his commander all the more funny because while he's trying to take things seriously, Harding just comes across as if he's a bit dejected and couldn't care less.
Hey, no personal devices. We need everyone comm ready in case Harding shows up.
I am using my communicator, sir. I figured the brass were using music to keep up morale.
What? Let me see that.
Aww.
This is our frequency.
That would mean that Harding has new encryption codes.
That would mean Harding has the new... Fuck!
Can't even handle an individual action once the serving flips. It's battered like halibut. How the fuck do they think they can be expected to manage an insane?
Good track to die to.
Despite how brutally he tears through all the troops, it makes you root for him as he really didn't ask for any of this and just wants to live in peace, while his commander quite unfairly refuses to grant him that peace. Honestly, props to all the voice actors, especially the guy who plays Harding, who I am just now learning is the co-founder and creative director of the development company behind this game, Strange Scuffle. This is a pretty short video, but I'm Your Beast really isn't a long game. There are only about 24 levels in the main story, plus some extra side story and challenge levels outside of that. I was able to finish the story in about 3 hours, and that was with me going back to replay several levels to try to get better times and finish side objectives. And like I said, the game is fairly simple. You get in, you shoot people fast, and you get out. But it does so much with so little, and it does it so well that I would say that the only real negative thing about it is that it is so short. I'm not exactly sure how they would improve such a well-made package outside of adding a couple mechanics, but I would love to see a sequel that expands on the story, the characters, and perhaps polishes the already shining gameplay. If you're looking for a small game that gives you nothing but speedy action, or perhaps a new game to spark or even reignite your inner speedrunner, then I would highly recommend this game. And it's currently free on Game Pass, as of the making of this video. Strange Scaffold are also the guys who made the game El Paso Elsewhere, a Max Payne-esque game that you may have heard of. I've yet to play it myself, but if it's anywhere near the quality of I Am Your Beast, then that might be changing soon. But before I can do that, I have a couple other videos I want to get out first. This actually isn't the video I wanted to make next. I was working on a big video for Devil May Cry 3, but I hit a couple roadblocks while I was making that video, so I decided to step away from that and work on something else. And when you know it, I Am Your Beast came out on Game Pass around the same time, and well, now we're here. I wanted to get out something small just so, like, you guys know, like, hey, by the way, I'm still alive. But I am hoping to get that Devil May Cry video out soon. But I would also like to make a video for the upcoming spooky season, which is fast approaching, so you might see one or the other within the coming month. This video was also a little different from how I normally do things. I thought I would get a little creative with this one. I would be grateful for any feedback or opinions you may have. Anyway, always grateful you people took the time to watch me. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Dear Diary, you know, I think I get it. I think I finally understand the insatiable urge that drives speedrunners. It's the the need to do better. When I would see how close I was to a better grade on a level, see just how little time I needed to get there, I would think to myself that if I just took a faster route or killed an enemy faster, I would get that faster time. But of course it's never that simple, because knowing what to do and actually doing it are two different things. But I've learned when it comes to speedrunning, every action counts. One missed shot, one wrong turn, one missed action means failure. Every movement needs to be precise, as no matter how well I may do, one slight misstep would cost me 1/10 of a second, and consequently the time and grade I was working for. And best believe, there were a lot of missteps. But with each failed attempt, I began to understand what I would do wrong and slowly developed a strategy that would get me the fastest and cleanest route. But I still wasn't satisfied. Even as my times got better, I found myself still getting frustrated as a part of me, something deep down in my very being, continued to scream, not good enough. That scream would continue to haunt me with every attempt until it would happen. The golden attempt. Whether brought about by me finally mastering a route or just sheer luck, a golden attempt would arise where everything just clicked. I would go into a flow state where every shot would connect, every action was exact, and I was seemingly moving faster than I ever had before, until I finally reached the end of the level one last time, the end of a level that I restarted who knows how many times, and I finally hit a time that I was satisfied with. And I would think to myself, maybe I can still do better. But for now, this is good.